Welcome back to the Beyond the Shallows podcast. So glad that you have decided to join me today. If you are watching on video, this is a very special episode because this is the first episode that I am recording in my new office at my home. I always want my life to be somewhat of an open book to you, and so that's why there's still some stuff on the floor over here. Working hard to make this space warm and inviting, and I have found myself wanting to be in this room and working, and that has been really exciting. I'm excited about what's going on in my life, and I'm excited to share with you the stuff that God is doing through me. In my attempts to become more like Jesus, one of the things that I realized, I actually got on Google, on YouTube, and I searched how to write parables, how to speak in parables, right? And there was a lot on there that was like using storytelling or using a story as a hook in a sermon, and something like that. But there wasn't a lot about parables specifically, and so I'm kind of fascinated by Jesus's approach to using parables. A lot of times he would speak in parables so that he could like insult people, or he could say a difficult truth, but then he wouldn't explain the parable. And some of the parables, I've been a pastor for a long time. Some of them are even still hard for me to understand. But what I would like to do is try my hand a little bit at writing some parables, at coming up with some stories, and kind of praying through this topic and thinking about it. I came up with one that I want to share with you. So today on the Beyond the Shallows podcast, what we're going to do is have a little bit of story time. I'm going to tell you a story, and if this is the type of thing that interests you, I want to know about that. So reach out to me and let me know if this type of teaching is good for you, if you found it healthy. And just give me some feedback on this style, because it was really fun to put together the puzzle of this story. And I think I enjoyed at least putting it together. Let me know if you enjoyed listening to it. Before we get started, just another reminder, if you know somebody in your life who's interested at all at leading worship, check out youthworshiptraining.com. Do you have to be a youth to go to youthworshiptraining.com and benefit from everything that's in that website? Absolutely not. I believe that there are some good lessons for all of us to learn about worship at that site. And what you can do is, if you especially are a high schooler wanting to lead worship, wanting to be on the worship team, I would check it out. It's got some really, really key lessons that you need to know in order to be successful in worship ministry. So check it out, youthworshiptraining.com. I'd love to see you inside of that resource that I have developed for you. All right, let us begin with our story. You know what? I never titled it. I'm going to call this Envy Needs a Vacation. To begin with, our first character is named Envy. Envy is the emotion that you feel when you want something that somebody else has. When you are comparing yourself to someone else, envy is present, just like in the Inside Out movies. The green character's name is Envy. And anytime you feel that emotion, envy is at work. Now, you probably know that Envy has been hard at work over the last few years. She likes to hang out on Instagram. She likes to hang out on TikTok and YouTube. She likes to hang out on the internet, but she also likes to hang out in real life. Anytime that you feel that emotion of, man, I wish that I was, or, oh, I wish I could go to, or, oh, man, I wish that I could look like, fill in the blank, envy is right there with you, working really hard to make sure that you are comparing yourself to others and wanting what they want. Now, Envy really needs a vacation. She's exhausted because so many people have been busy at work, overwhelmed with envy and comparing themselves to other people. And so her friend decided to suggest to Envy that she goes and visits a travel agency to come up with a vacation so that she can get away for a little bit and recharge her batteries. So she walks into a travel agency, and the agent greets her from behind the counter. Hello, nice to meet you. Are you looking to go on a trip? And Envy, with her head down and her shoulders slumped, says, "Yeah, I'm so worn out. I'm so burnt out from work. You have no idea. I need a trip. Money is no object." At which the travel agent perked up a little bit. "Oh, okay, great. Um, I really need to get out of here. I really need a break from work. So if you could just help me plan some type of trip that I can do so that I can get away and relax just a little bit, then I can come back feeling refreshed and ready to go." And so the travel agent's like, "Great. Well, let's look at some of the classics, what other people like to do. How about the beach? Would you like to go on a trip to the beach?" And Envy looked at her with a weird look on her face and said, I don't think you understand. I'm Envy. Like, I make people compare themselves to other people. I make people wish they had what other people had. Why on earth would I go to the beach? I've been at the beach all summer long. That is the body image comparison capital of the world, is the beach. And not only that, but like, if somebody has a beach house, there's always a bigger beach house. Or if you're in a big beach house, you always wish that you had it filled up with your friends. You're always constantly comparing yourself to other people at the beach. I'm working so hard at the beach, and there's always a better beach location. Sometimes the water isn't clear enough, or it is clear, but there's not enough wildlife in the water, or maybe there's too much wildlife in the water. There's too many things that make a beach trip not the perfect beach trip. I'm just working so much at the beach. I'm sick of the beach. I can't stand the beach. The beach is totally out. Try again, please. The agent's kind of taken back. It's like, "Oh, I didn't know who I was dealing with. Okay, well, if we can't do physical comparison," and then she thought a little bit. She kind of like shuffled through some papers and said, "Oh, I've got it. How about a ski trip? Why don't you do a ski trip, and we can send you to the mountains, and you can get away and ski. That's a pretty solo trip thing. You can get away from people and whatnot." And Envy was like, "Okay, well, I'm sorry for lashing out about the beach trip, but that is a little bit better. But I'm also working a lot there too, because while everybody is bundled up and they're not, comparing to, the bikini beach body or whatever, there's still like, there's a disparity between people's talent and skill. And so the people who aren't very good at skiing are always looking up at the Black Diamond going, 'Oh, I'm envious of the people who are on that really cool hill.' And the people who are there are like, 'Man, this is great, but I wish I was at another mountain.' And the people who are at the best mountains wish they had a Red Bull sponsorship. And the masters of the mountains are even just comparing themselves to each other and always in competition to each other. It's such a competitive environment. And so I've been there so much too, and I'm sick of working around these people, and I really got to get away. Please, do you have somewhere else that you could send me? Because I would just be working the whole time at the beach and be working the whole time at the mountain. Please come up with something else." And so, again, flustered, the travel agent's like, "Okay, well," and then she let me go into the back, and she talks to some of the other agents and gets a couple ideas, and, okay, well, money's no object, and so maybe she can travel overseas, and so they're looking at a bunch of different things. She comes back out and says, "Okay, I've got it. How about this? We'll send you on a trip to see one of the 7 wonders of the world, the Great Pyramids." And Envy's like, "Okay, well, this is, again, a little bit better. There's minimal potential for comparison. There's not a lot of competition, but people are always envious that other people made archaeological discoveries and made a discovery that changed the world, and they want to be that person. And maybe they're envious of the knowledge that the tour guide has, and there's so much to learn. There's a lot to be envious of, and people who have visited one of the 7 wonders of the world are envious of the people who have visited all 7. There's even more." And so they go back and forth about this a few times, and the agent keeps on bringing these different suggestions, and Envy's like just so burnt out and depressed and getting sadder and sadder with every suggestion, and there doesn't seem to be any good vacation options. What if you went to space like Jeff Bezos, like, what if you did that? Well, Yeah, but those people are envious of the people who are planning trips to Mars, right? Okay, well, what if you just went and got a massage? Well, what do you think the masseuse is always envious of the person getting the massage, right? They want to be on the table, right? Well, what if you just did a solo camping trip? Oh, first of all, that's dangerous. Second of all, you're envious of the people who can do camping trips with their friends and family. What if you just became a monk and gave away all of your stuff and tried to remove yourself from everything that you ever had? Well, there's always somebody who has sacrificed more than you, and so there's always a monk that seems to have reached this higher level of spirituality. There's so much envy, even in that context, even in the midst of trying to get rid of all your things so that you can be content. And so finally, so flustered, pulling out her hair, the travel agent says, you know what? Just come back tomorrow, and I'm going to work really hard, and I'm going to find something that you can do where you can actually go on vacation. I promise you, I will find something, right? And so Envy slumps out of the travel agency, goes back to work and works all night long. The whole time the travel agent is at home working really, really hard, trying to figure out what is the perfect thing. What is the thing that Envy can do so that she can stop working? It just seems to be like everywhere you turn, everywhere you look, there's a potential for you to be envious of somebody else, or a thing that somebody has, or a person that you want to be, or an accomplishment that you want to accomplish, and there's that opportunity at least for envy to slip in. So what am I going to recommend? So she's up all night, rifling through papers, Googling stuff, emailing her contacts, trying to figure something out. Envy comes in as soon as the travel agency opens. The ding dong of the doorbell as she opens the glass door, and the travel agent is sitting behind the desk. She has got bags under her eyes. Her hair is a mess. She's clearly stayed the whole night at the office. And Envy comes up and says, "Okay, you don't look so good. Did you figure out some way for me to get a break? Like I'm really exhausted. I'm desperate. This is my last ditch effort at getting a rest, getting a break. Please tell me that you have something for me." And the agent takes her hand, raises it up, holds out a trifold piece of paper, and slaps it down on the desk in front of Envy. And Envy picks up the paper and opens it up. And what it is a brochure for a hot tub. And the travel agent says, "You know what? I was up all night long, and I cannot figure out what you could do, where you could go in order to get away from work. But what I can offer you is one solitary moment of contentment. Because there is one moment that I can think of when you first get into the hot tub and you take a deep breath and then you exhale, where you are exactly where you want to be and the person that you want to be. It doesn't matter how nice the hot tub is. It doesn't matter how many jets it has. You just love to relax in that moment. And that is the best that I can do." That is the end of my story of Envy going on vacation. Now, Jesus famously did not explain his parables. This one's lesson is pretty self-explanatory. I'm only going to leave you with this. The lesson, in part from this story, is that if you are looking for contentment, you're not going to find it by reaching the top or depriving yourself. So the question is, how do you pursue contentment? If you think you know the answer to that question, I would love to hear your answer. Again, check out youthworshiptraining.com. Send it to somebody who needs it. Thank you for tuning in today. And let me know what you think about this format. I really enjoyed putting together this little story for you today. Have a great one, and I'll see you next week.